Okay, today we're gonna do something like a neutral cat eye, blown out, smoky type thing. And I already did my base. I used the Estee Lauder Double Wear mixed with a tiny bit of moisturizer just to give it more luminosity and not make it so flat. And the Too Faced Born This Way Sculpting Concealer. I went for these two because I wanted like a velvety finish to my skin as opposed to something too glowy or too dewy. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the eyes, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a tiny bit of powder because I did use some of that foundation on my eyes just to use as primer. So I'm gonna set that primer, that foundation on my eyelids with translucent powder to give the shadows something to blend into, and so that it doesn't stick to it and make it impossible to blend. And for this I'm gonna be using two palettes. I'm gonna be using the Tarte in Bloon palette just because it has like great neutral shades, nothing too warm, too cool toned, just like right in the middle. And I'm gonna use the Huda Beauty, what is this called, Rose Gold palette, just for the black, and the blush that I'm gonna use is in this palette too. So I'm gonna start with this shade here, which is sort of like a mid-tone brown. Again, nothing too warm, nothing too cool toned, just like right in the middle, very neutral. And I'm gonna shape my eye, shape my crease, and I'm gonna bring it all the way into my nose, just for a lot of definition, and a little bit here into the corner of the eye. With the same brush and the same color, I'm gonna go under my bottom lashes just for smokiness. And with a clean fluffy brush, I'm just gonna blend the edges. Now that my eyes are very well framed, I'm gonna take this shade here, which is sort of like a very light shade. You gotta choose a shade that's sort of like 2 shades lighter than your own skin tone. Make sure not to choose something that's super light because it might look ashy once you apply it onto your eyelids. So I'm just sort of like packing on the product because I want that bright shade to give me a little brightness. I'm just gonna press it, making sure not to go over the shading color that I used on my crease. And I'm gonna take it all the way up to here, so like leaving the outer corner bare, and into the corner of the eyes. This look is sort of like reminiscing to like the 90s supermodel look. So it's going to be all mattes, no shimmers at all. Alright, now with a smaller blending brush, I'm gonna mix these 2 shades here, which are this is sort of like a light pink and this is sort of like a pinky brown. So I'm just going to pick up more of that darker shade, and I'm gonna start creating some depth on my outer corner, making sure that I press very lightly, that my skin is not moving, because I want it to be very blown out, very smoky. So the softer you press, the more blended and so like it's going to look. And I'm just gonna use that same combination, so like on the half portion of my under lash, and I'm just gonna connect it here at the outer corner. And again, with the same clean fluffy brush, I'm just gonna blend the edges. And starting now from the bottom, I'm just gonna elongate it outwards a little bit to start creating that cat eye shape. And we're sort of like building here from lightest to darkest shade. So I'm gonna take this deep brown here in the corner, with the same smaller fluffy brush, and just go over the very corner of my eye, as close to the lashes as I can get it. Just blend that shade ever so slightly. I'm pulling it outwards just to emphasize that feline shape that we're after. Alright, I'm gonna mix these two shades here, and I'm gonna remove some of the excess on the back of my hand. And looking down, I'm gonna further emphasize that crease. To give my eyes more definition. And this eye sort of like looks a tiny bit droopy because it's sort of like I have an allergy, and makes it sort of like collapse here in the inner corner. Alright, I'm gonna take the same light brush with a flat shade, with the flat brush, and just go over my brow bone for a tiny bit of lightness there and dimension. And now with the black shade from the Huda palette in a smaller flat brush, I'm just going to create sort of like a liner, but sort of like blending it forward with the same brush as I go. Coming in and doing the same on the bottom lashes. I'm only using the tip of the brush, so the brush is really doing all the work for me. And I'm just gonna elongate here on the outer edge, again to emphasize the shape. Alright, I'm gonna take a black pencil and I'm just gonna line my waterline top and bottom, going all the way into the inner corner, tie lining, and I'm just gonna take it ever so slightly outside of the waterline, just outside of the waterline, in between the lashes, and flick it outwards. And with the same flat brush that I used for the black, I'm just gonna smudge. Alright, so now I'm just gonna add mascara, and I'm using Better Than Sex by Too Faced, because this gives lots of volume, and I'm going to apply it mainly on the outer corner, again to emphasize that shape. We want to pull the eye so like out and up as much as we can. I am now going to start adding some dimension to my face, so I'm going to be using this contour palette by NYX, which is very nice because it has a bunch of light shades, and some of these are shimmer, and it has the, well, this clearly fell out of here. But this was a darker brown, and you get these shades. These are like a bronzer, and these two are more contoured. This is for light skin and more of a medium skin tone. And because I don't want anything too harsh, I'm gonna take a bigger, fluffier brush, but one that's tapered, because the point here is gonna allow me to get into that small area to define. And I'm gonna mix these two shades, and again remove the excess in the back of my hand, and just go over under my cheekbone, looking straight ahead into the mirror. This way you know exactly what's happening. I see a lot of people like going like this, like to the side, but it's better just to look forward and make sure that it looks good when you're looking straight. Using the same two shades, I'm just going to go on my temple just connect everything here and on my jaw. And to contour your temples, what you want to do is sort of like place the brush sort of like at the end of the shadow and pull it back. That way everything is connected and it looks more in synergy. And with an eyeshadow brush, I'm gonna take the light contour shade and just go over this area here. So I like to connect the eye to the nose. Alright, back with the Huda Beauty. I'm gonna take this Dusty Rose here and I'm gonna go over, so like along the contour, just slightly above. And last but not least, the lips. I'm gonna be using this one, this lipstick by ILIA, and even though I want a natural lip, I do want definition, so I'm gonna be taking this brown pencil, and I usually use this on the eyes, but I think if you use it lightly, it should work really well. Bringing it in the corner. Touching my lips to make sure that I get the rim of the lips completely. This way you get more mileage out of your lips.